Beyond the Gates spoilers tease that Bill Hamilton's life is about to collapse under the weight of two deadly secrets, one he never saw coming and one he helped bury. It starts with a revelation that hits like a punch to the chest. Kenny, the man whose death still haunts Bill in quiet moments, was Hayley's brother. Hayley, his wife. The woman he shares a bed with. The woman he married believing in love and trust. Bill finds out by accident. While organizing boxes in the garage, he stumbles upon an old photo album tucked behind a stack of winter coats. Inside are childhood photos of Hayley with a boy who looks disturbingly familiar. At first, he can't place it. Then it clicks. The eyes, the smirk, the scar on the chin. It's Kenny. A few pages later, the truth becomes undeniable. A family photo, Hayley and Kenny with their parents. Labeled. Dated. Bill feels the world tilt. The man he helped kill was his wife's brother. And she never told him. The memories of that night come flooding back, the panic, the shouts, the mess, the cover-up. Kenny had been unhinged, unpredictable, and dangerous. Bill and a few others had done what they thought was necessary to protect themselves. But it wasn't justice. It was survival. Now he wonders if it was all part of a setup. Was Hayley ever in love with him? Or was he just the final target of a sibling revenge scheme? Bill confronts Hayley that same night. His voice is a low, trembling growl when he asks her about Kenny. Hayley doesn't deny it. She doesn't even flinch. Instead, she smiles slowly, like a blade slipping from a sheath. So you finally figured it out, she says. Everything after that devolves into chaos. Bill accuses her of marrying him under false pretenses, of plotting with Kenny from the start. Hayley fires back, demanding to know what really happened the night Kenny died. Their shouting spirals, dredging up every lie, every crack in their marriage. Then the second bomb drops. Hayley knows what Bill did. Not just that Kenny died, but how. She names the others involved. She recounts the details no one else should know unless they were there or someone told them. Bill realizes too late. Hayley has been investigating him. The mask is off. Both of them are staring into each other's darkness. Bill's fear hardens into fury. He accuses her of plotting his death. Hayley doesn't deny it outright. She simply says, "You don't know everything." And she's right. Bill doesn't know that Hayley and Kenny had a shared plan years ago. Kenny had held a grudge against Bill for reasons that went deeper than rivalry or personal vendetta. There had been a falling out in business, rumors of betrayal, and a promise from Kenny that Bill would one day pay for what he'd done. Hayley, freshly out of college and financially dependent on her family, agreed to the plan. The plan was elegant in its cruelty. Hayley would get close to Bill, seduce him, marry him, and eventually help orchestrate his death. The final prize? Bill's life insurance policy, a multi-million-dollar payout that would change everything. Only Kenny never lived to see it through. His death disrupted everything. But Hayley never let go of the mission. Now, with Bill's health failing and a convenient medical history on file, she accelerates the plan. She begins tampering with his medication just a little at first. A missed pill. A switched dosage. Nothing that would raise suspicion. Then she spikes his drinks with slow-acting toxins designed to mimic cardiac stress. She makes sure he rests, encourages him to stay home, plays the role of the dutiful wife as his condition worsens. Bill starts feeling it. Dizziness. Fatigue. Shortness of breath. At first, he thinks it's just stress. Then it worsens. He returns to the hospital for tests, and the doctors suggest complications from his existing condition. No one suspects poisoning. But someone does start to wonder. Danny, Bill's ex-wife, watches the headlines and hears the rumors. She never trusted Hayley's smile. She always thought there was something too perfect about her. And when Bill's health spirals so suddenly, Danny begins to dig. She speaks to former friends of Hayley, tracks down college roommates, even pays a private investigator. Slowly, she pieces it together, the link between Hayley and Kenny, the strange timing of their marriage, the insurance policy amendments. She tries to warn Bill, but he doesn't respond. By then, he's too far gone, bedridden and barely coherent. Hayley keeps him isolated, claiming he needs rest, denying calls, restricting visits. Then Bill dies. It happens in the early hours of a quiet morning. The coroner rules it as heart failure. Natural causes, given his history. Hayley mourns in public with perfect grace. She arranges the funeral, delivers a eulogy that brings the room to tears, and signs the papers to begin the transfer of his estate. But Danny isn't finished. She collects her findings, files a report, and pressures the coroner's office to re-examine the body. At first, they refuse. But when Danny presents the connection between Hayley and the now infamous Kenny, everything shifts. An investigation is launched. Quietly. The second autopsy changes everything. Toxins are found in Bill's system. Ones that should never have been there. And suddenly, Hayley isn't a grieving widow. She's a suspect in a homicide case. The shockwave of the second autopsy reverberated across every layer of the city's quiet social elite. Hayley, once the elegant, enigmatic wife of a respected man, was now the center of a swirling homicide investigation. It didn't take long for the media to catch wind. A widow suspected of killing her husband for an insurance payout and the brother she never spoke of suddenly linked to a long-cold, suspicious death. It was the kind of story that ignited public obsession. Hayley played her part well at first. She retained the best criminal defense attorney money could buy and leaned into a press narrative of being a misunderstood, grief-stricken woman hunted by a jealous ex-wife. She claimed Danny was obsessed, trying to destroy her out of spite and unresolved feelings for Bill. In interviews, she wept when talking about Bill, about love, about the monstrous cruelty of being accused of something so vile and unthinkable. But beneath the surface, cracks widened. Detectives discovered bank withdrawals made by Hayley over several months leading up to Bill's death. Large sums transferred into untraceable crypto wallets. They uncovered surveillance footage from a holistic shop specializing in unregulated herbal toxin, the same compounds found in Bill's bloodstream. The shopkeeper eventually recognized Hayley in a photo lineup. Danny, meanwhile, refused to back down. She continued to collaborate with investigators, turning over call logs, email exchanges, and the private investigator's full report. She connected dots others missed. Hayley had modified Bill's life insurance policy just 2 weeks before his death. Bill, already weakened, might not have even noticed. Then came the breakthrough. In a digital backup of Bill's personal notes stored in the cloud and overlooked during the initial investigation, detectives found a series of draft messages. In them, Bill detailed his suspicions about Hayley. The final entry, dated 4 days before his death, read, "If anything happens to me, it was her. Kenny wasn't an accident. And I think I was the next part of their plan. If you're reading this, don't let her win." It was enough to secure a warrant. Police raided Hayley's home early one morning. The evidence recovered was damning: handwritten notes referencing dosage measurements, a hidden burner phone with messages between her and a user linked to black market pharmaceuticals, and an unsigned life insurance beneficiary adjustment form replacing her name with that of a trust in the Cayman Islands. She was arrested without resistance, but the trial that followed was anything but quiet. The courtroom was packed for every hearing. Journalists circled the courthouse like vultures, while Hayley's legal team launched a full-scale war to discredit the case. They attacked the chain of custody on the toxins, suggested Bill might have self-medicated with unapproved supplements, and painted Danny as an unhinged woman bent on revenge. But the facts held. The prosecution constructed a timeline that placed Hayley at the center of a long-running conspiracy rooted in revenge and greed. They introduced letters written by Kenny, recovered from an old laptop in storage, outlining his desire to destroy Bill and hinting at Hayley's willingness to help. The most chilling moment came when a forensic audio technician played a recovered voicemail from Kenny to Hayley. His voice was erratic, unhinged. "If he finds out, it's over. We do this together or not at all. You married him for a reason. Don't forget what he did to me. Don't forgive." Hayley's defense crumbled. By week 3 of the trial, the narrative had shifted from elegant widow to calculating killer. And when Danny took the stand, steady and razor-sharp, the jury hung on every word. "I didn't want to believe it," she said. "I thought I was being paranoid. But Bill was a good man. Flawed, yes, but not careless. He knew something was wrong. I just wasn't fast enough to stop it." Hayley's conviction came unanimously. Life imprisonment, with no chance of parole for 30 years. As the gavel struck, she didn't cry. She stared straight ahead, her face expressionless. The weight of years of deceit, the failure of her plan, and the echo of Kenny's voice collapsed inward. Danny didn't celebrate. She walked out of the courtroom quietly, the buzz of reporters trailing behind. Her work wasn't about vengeance. It was about truth. About making sure that Bill, despite everything, had someone in his corner when it mattered most. Months later, Danny visited Bill's grave. She placed a single white rose, then stood in silence. "I kept my promise," she whispered. Bill's name had become more than a headline. His story now lived as a cautionary tale. About trust. About the price of secrets. About how sometimes the person beside you isn't just hiding something waiting for the right moment to strike. But in the end, Hayley failed. Not because her plan was flawed, but because she underestimated the quiet persistence of those she tried to manipulate. And though it came too late to save Bill, the truth emerged, fierce and undeniable. And that, in the end, was what mattered most. The world moved on, as it always does. The story that had once dominated headlines faded into the static of newer scandals. Hayley remained locked behind bars, her name spoken only in hushed conversations or podcasts about infamous betrayals. In the quiet aftermath, Danny found herself alone again. Not broken, but changed. She had fought for justice, and she had won. But that didn't undo the pain or bring Bill back. It didn't fix the years they lost to silence, or the guilt she still carried for not seeing the danger sooner. Still, it gave her purpose. And she wasn't done yet. Danny began working with survivors of similar crimes, not just women targeted for money, but people who had been manipulated, lied to, and broken down by someone they thought they loved. She helped them tell their stories, guided them through legal processes, and taught them how to document what couldn't always be seen. In doing so, she rediscovered herself. The foundation she created in Bill's name grew quickly. The Hamilton Trust specialized in advocating for victims of domestic deceit, coercion, and financial exploitation. It partnered with legal firms, therapists, and financial experts to offer support for those caught in dangerous partnerships with people like Hayley. One afternoon, as Danny was finalizing paperwork for a new grant, she received a letter. No return address. She opened it slowly, unsure of what to expect. Inside was a single sheet of paper. He deserved worse. And so do you. The handwriting was unmistakable. Hayley. The prison return address was missing, but Danny reported the letter anyway. Investigators confirmed it had been smuggled out by a former inmate released just 2 weeks earlier. Nothing actionable, they said. Just more of the same. But for Danny, it was a reminder. Hayley may be locked away, but the venom hadn't gone. She didn't panic. She didn't retreat. She doubled the foundation's security protocol, warned her team, and returned to work. The threats only hardened her resolve. Justice wasn't a finish line. It was a daily decision. Meanwhile, one of the detectives from Bill's case, a thoughtful, reserved man named Marcus Flynn, continued to correspond with Danny. What started as routine check-ins turned into something more personal. They spoke over coffee, exchanged stories of loss and resilience. Slowly, carefully, they built a connection. Danny never rushed it. She had been in love before. She had trusted before. This time, she took her time. She told Marcus everything. Not just about Hayley, but about Bill. About the man he was before things went wrong. About how love can sometimes rot from the inside without anyone noticing. Marcus listened. And more than that, he understood. 1 year after Hayley's conviction, Danny stood again at Bill's grave. The white rose was replaced by a small plaque beneath his name. The truth will outlive the lie. She ran her fingers over the inscription, then stepped back. Not with sorrow, but with gratitude. In the end, Bill hadn't died in vain. His story exposed a dangerous lie. His memory became a force for good. And though he never got to see it, Danny knew he would have been proud. She turned away from the grave, sunlight warming her shoulders. Marcus waited by the path, coffee in hand. Danny smiled and walked forward, leaving the shadows behind.